Hello and welcome to TPCast number 88. I am Layne.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Kevin.
As usual,
we are Thomas Productions.
As usual, it's been a while. That's nothing new for this podcast, but things have shifted. Last time we were recording outside
and 6 feet apart.
And 6 feet apart. But now everything is, in terms of like us, pretty much back to normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You could say things are hunky, if not hunky and dory.
Yeah. We're in California, and California has been doing super well lately.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. So, for the time being, we can do this indoors, no masks,
we're
no
back
distancing.
in the room we usually do it in.
I kind of wanted to do it outside because it would be nice, but
I know
it's too windy
we
today.
really liked it last time, but yeah, it was, and kind of still is windy, and I figured with the microphones picking up all that, it wouldn't be super enjoyable. Speaking of maybe not super enjoyable, right out of the gate, we have a little something new on this podcast. We have a bit of a food review.
Right. So
Kyle?
We've done some Mountain Dews before on the channel, not the podcast, but the YouTube channel.
Kyle's a big Mountain Dew guy.
From like foreign countries, flavors that we don't get here in America. And the site that I get it from, World Snackin', actually shut down recently, so I had to get a final order in. This was not from the final order, but I did get one for myself. Anyway, this is...
He's holding up a bottle.
It is a...
It's a big one.
It's a Mountain Dew, the original Mountain Dew flavor from Finland. And the entire bottle, aside from the word Mountain Dew, is now in another language. So
it looks like it's 1.5 liters. Right. It's pretty big.
So I don't know. I mean, I've had this flavor before in a smaller bottle, and I think that it might use like an artificial sweetener, maybe in conjunction with sugar. And those don't tend to last too long. And this has been I've had it since Christmas. So who knows if it's still going to be any good. So we don't have to finish it, but we are going to try it.
All right. He's cracking the bottle open. This is some ASMR content right here.
Sounds good.
And he's doing the pour.
So while he's pouring, I want to mention something real quick, and we'll get a little bit more into this later in the podcast, but I want to mention this right at the very beginning. If you are on your phone and need something to do while listening to this podcast, I have started a crowdfund for a feature film. I am directing my very first feature film. I'm very excited about it, and you can find it, I believe, on the Thomas Productions Facebook page and maybe the Twitter page. Or you could it's on Indiegogo. You can go to Indiegogo.com and search for, the project is called Losers of Eden. And it's a feature film. If you want to donate, I have some really, really cool perks. They start at $10 and it goes all the way up to $800. And there's everything in between. You're going to get some really, really cool stuff in return. So I just want to mention that up front. Go check it out while you're listening to this. And we'll get a little bit more into that project later in the show.
So right off the bat, it looks a lot more like bleach than regular Mountain Dew.
Well, I don't drink Mountain Dew that often as it is, but I rarely ever drink original Mountain Dew. But from what I recall, this doesn't seem as neon greeny. This seems
what's interesting is the
more
bottle,
like a juice.
The bottle is kind of
tinted.
Well, I was going to say it's misleading because it looks very neon yellow green, but that's just the color of the bottle. And when you pour it out into a glass, it does look like bleach with bubbles in it.
Mountain Dew American is usually more yellow. All right, cheers, everybody.
Okay.
Cheers.
Tasting Finland Mountain Dew.
Not bad. I would say I taste a little bit of, what did you say, Kyle? Like
artificial sweetener.
Artificial sweetener, but it's not like if you accidentally take a sip of Diet Coke and it's like
Now, for
it's
me,
not bad.
one thing I'm noticing, I'm sure you guys all are. I'm a big carbonation person. I like lots of carbonation. This is, flat.
Yeah,
That's
but
probably
I-
a byproduct of how long.
probably how long it's been sitting, but also I think Americans have a sweeter tooth and also a bubblier tooth, and I think other countries don't carbonate their stuff like we do here.
So that is my critique. I like the level of sweetness. Like, it doesn't taste over
Yeah.
sweetened to me.
Yeah, it's drinkable.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
serviceable. I would compare regular American Mountain Dew more favorably to this, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, same.
You can pour me a little more if you want.
We also have another flavor here.
Should we save that for a little later in the show?
Yeah.
So, while Kyle pours that, lots of stuff has happened since October.
Lots of stuff have just happened recently.
Well, the first thing that happened since October was November,
That's right.
chronologically.
Thanks a lot.
There was a long,
I'm
I would
learning
say
my
there was a
months.
long period of drought where really nothing was happening, but that's kind of because nothing could happen. But we're in the place now where things can happen. So things have been rapidly happening because
So-
we've had a backlog of things to get to.
So we could probably go in order, but I figured we might as well kind of just hit the big stuff first.
Yeah.
So, do you remember, did we talk about it last time that we had this plan that got canceled because of COVID?
I don't think so.
I don't think we would have talked about it.
All right.
It's
So-
more of a personal thing, but it's still really exciting to talk about.
Yeah, so after it was December 2019 when Star Wars Episode 9 came out,
And things were going swimmingly in
Yeah.
the world.
and recently, I think the summer before that, somewhere around there,
I feel like it was like that winter.
yeah, Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland and Disney World opened up. And it's like the Star Wars land that they added. And Kevin and Layne and I made a plan that we would go. Layne was doing kind of a project, and I was like, hey, when that's over, do you want to go to Disneyland? And we can do Galaxy's Edge. And, we've all been to Disneyland plenty of times, but not together. So I was like, this will be really fun. I kind of planned the whole thing. I bought tickets, got hotel.
And guess
Everything
when
planned
it was
out.
for.
It was going to be April 2020. We bought the tickets in February. I had the app where we were planning, like, okay, I got, reservations for building the lightsaber. Then I got reservations for the cantina for April when we were going to go. And then, of course, March, everything got shut down with COVID. And
Disneyland was shut down,
Disneyland
for,
was shut
a
down
year.
for a year, and we I was able to hold on to the tickets. They didn't expire. They expired, I think, at the beginning of 2022. So we had plenty of time to hold on to it.
And that
And-
was also good because once they reopened, they were doing reservations only.
Right.
So we had our little inn.
And the cool thing about Disneyland at the time was that it was for California residents only. And because we are California residents, we're able to go. But that means a lot more people who wanted to go weren't able to. So once they kind of opened up again, we made the plans to go in May. This was last month. Towards the end of last month, we made the trip to Anaheim.
We took a little road trip, which we've done once or twice before.
Mhm.
Although I don't think that was our first road trip, just the three of us, right?
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least like road trip longer than an hour or so.
hmm And usually to end up going to film something.
Yeah, so we did we went to Anaheim and stayed in a hotel or motel, kind of hotel
It was
motel
more-
combo,
Yeah.
right across the street from Disneyland, and we walked to the park the morning of. Well, here's a good story. Let's maybe not tell that. All right.
Okay. So anyway, we were able to get into the park, after some wandering around being lost. But once we got in, we were able to rapid fire to those rides.
Right. So here's the cool thing was that they said the park opens at 9:00, and they were like, in a week or so, we're going to start opening at 8, but today it's 9. And so we were waiting in line at the gate, and right at 8:00, they started letting people in. And so we got into, past the security, right into the entrance on Main Street, and there was an intercom thing saying like, all the rides will open at 9, find a place to hang out till then. But we just walked straight to Indiana Jones and were able to get on.
Which isn't too far from the entrance, for those who don't know.
But, the rides were running, the employees, the cast members were running all the rides. And so we did Indiana Jones, and we got off, and I said that was a great substitute for coffee. It woke me right up. And then where did we go next?
Pirates.
We did Pirates next.
Because it's right around the corner.
Yeah, pretty much right there. And then after that, we went to...
Pirates, by the way, was another 2-minute wait in line, maybe.
And then we went to Haunted Mansion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We did, because it's right next to each other. And then that was 3 rides that we did. And once we got off Haunted Mansion, it was 9:05 or something like that. So we did 3 rides before the park officially opened, which is very cool. And then we went to Space Mountain, and that's when the line started getting a little longer. I think it was a half-hour wait, 20 minutes, something like that. But boy, we had a blast.
Yeah, our first day there was pretty exhausting because it was much hotter that day. I mean, it wasn't like we were baking in the sun.
It's not like summer.
Yeah,
but keep in mind,
80s, I think.
we're in Southern California, and it was about 82, and we weren't suffering. Okay, we live in California. We're used to the heat, but we're not quite used to the LA heat. So it was hot, and we were doing lots of walking around, so we got pretty exhausted, and we didn't stay till the park closed that day. But we had pretty much gotten through everything that we wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second day, I mean, we still have stuff to talk about from the first day, but I'll just say the second day was much cooler. It was 72 degrees, maybe 75 at the most, so it wasn't hot, and we had much more energy, and we were able to go from park opening to park close all day. And gosh, we just had a blast. I would say it was the perfect storm of COVID protocols and whatnot, where we just were able to do everything we wanted to, and in most cases, multiple times.
Yeah.
I would say there was one thing that I was looking forward to that we didn't get to do because it was closed, which was the cantina. Like I said, I had made reservation for that last year, but they had it closed this time, unfortunately. But we got to do the thing Layne wanted to do the most.
Yeah, that was... I mean, obviously, it's all of Star Wars Land. That was...
Galaxy's Edge, Layne.
Yeah. If anyone should get if anyone should get it right, it's me. But we went to Galaxy's Edge, and of course, that whole experience was great. Going into it, the thing I was looking forward to the most was
the food.
Well, I mean, that was good, but mainly building the lightsabers.
The bathroom? Oh, right, the lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, real quick, Kyler said the bathrooms. Even the bathrooms are Star Wars themed in there. I took a picture. Layne, if you're posting stuff, I can...
I take something in the bathroom, too.
I didn't take anything in the bathroom. Now I feel...
I can send you a photo of the bathroom stall. Even the bathroom stall is Star Wars themed. And if I could just say one quick thing about Galaxy's Edge. Take out all the tourists. If you can imagine yourself just walking around there, you are in Star Wars. It is crazy. You look up, and it's Star Wars. You look down, you look all around you. Everything is as authentic as can be. And they have yes, the Millennium Falcon is there, but they also have other little flying ships parked on top of buildings. And sometimes the engines will roar up, or you'll hear they have these speakers that make it sound like spaceships are just flying over you at certain points.
Right.
And then the cast members walking around are all in perfect Star Wars uniform. It is like you're in Star Wars, and it's so cool.
All they would have to do is take down all the signs that are in English, and you could film a Star Wars show or movie there easily.
I think they would have to do some other covering up some Disney stuff, but you could absolutely... It was as authentic as could be. At least for me. I don't know if you disagree with me, Layne, as the Star Wars guy.
I pretty much agree with it. For being a theme park they made it as close to
I think
perfect as
we
possible.
all kind of might agree that we went there at night, the second night, and the way it was all lit up, it kind of wasn't as... They had like lights on the rock formations on the outside, and it just didn't look quite as realistic as it did during the day, but it was still cool to see it at night with all the lights on and everything. All right, so you want to talk about Savvy's workshop?
Oh, yeah. So we went and we picked up... we built some sabers. Kyle and I both participated, and Kevin was, I guess, our chaperone.
I chose not to make a lightsaber, but I was able to hang out in there and watch, and I did get a couple not great photos of them doing it, but
so
it was still cool.
So Kyle and I both chose to make. They gave you a choice of kind of like 4 different models.
Was it 5?
It was 4.
4 different models that you could pick parts from.
It was Peace and Justice, Power and Control, Elemental Nature, and...
I don't know.
Layne, you don't know?
No, I'm trying to...
Peace and Justice, Power and Control, Elemental Nature. All the Star Wars fans are laughing at me for forgetting this.
Well,
Except
anyway.
me. Anyway, there's 4 of them. So, but both Kyle and I picked the same one. So we went in and...
We picked Peace and Justice, by the way.
Yeah, we're peaceful people.
Mm-hmm.
So we went in and chose our parts, and that was a great experience in terms of the theatricality of it, and when you first ignite the sabers after you built them and all that.
It was cool because we picked the same design, right? But they give you a bunch of different pieces that you can use within that design. And Layne and I purposefully were not looking at the other one to see what we were doing. So it's possible that we could have made the entire same lightsaber or a completely different one. And I think we only used like 1 or 2 of the same pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like we ended up with very different looking lightsabers.
Yeah, but the different options are like for the hilt and the
Right.
ignition switch and just there. What are there like 5 different parts from top to bottom?
Yeah.
5, and then
And
there's
then the
also the
color.
color of the blade. Yeah, and there was like the guy who was running it, talking you through the whole thing, and that was very well done. That guy was great, and the way that they'd set it up,
There was music and lighting, and
Right.
he was matching it.
right? The way that they had that whole thing from start to finish was very good, and they gave you as well a little, I don't know what you'd call it.
A carrying case for
Right.
the saber, so you could carry it around with you, which we did for the rest of the day.
And thank goodness that we did it. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon when we did it. I'm glad we didn't do that first thing in the day, because carrying that thing around for the rest of the day, even from 4:00.
Well, I told
Like-
you guys, and they told
I
you
know.
there's a free storage.
Yeah, but I don't want to like go back
it.
there and
In all
find
fairness, I did not hear this information at the
it. Right.
time.
So
If
anyway,
you did, would you have done it?
I would have contemplated it.
so right, they give you this thing, you strap it on, and I walked to, I think the next thing we did was Haunted Mansion again. I walked to Haunted Mansion, and before we even got on the ride, my shoulder hurt.
Oh,
That thing is heavy. But that shows you how cool it is. It's like not like those plastic lightsabers you get from Toys R Us as a kid. It's a real,
it's like
Like,
metal.
absolutely
parts.
could be
Heavy.
a film prop.
Feels good in your hand.
Yeah.
The weight of it.
So I enjoyed that,
Hmm.
but I would say,
We also both did blue blades.
yeah, I'd say even more coming out of it. My favorite thing about Galaxy's Edge was probably hands down Rise of the Resistance.
Oh yeah.
So that's one of the 2 rides.
Before we talk about that, I want to briefly hit on the Ronto wrap.
Mm-hmm.
We were hungry. We ate at, there are a couple different restaurants that they have there, but really the only one that was open was this Ronto Roaster, which is like a pita with 2 kinds of sausage and some slaw.
yeah, it was
and-
kind of like pulled pork and a
Right.
hot dog.
And
type
they,
in
we
the
all
same
we all
thing.
got one of the same thing, and we all really liked it.
Yeah,
I've been thinking
and
about
I remember
it a lot.
saying this is a perfect like Disneyland meal because it's gonna keep you full but not like feeling sluggish. It was a good
Right.
like energy
It
for the
wasn't
rest
crap.
of the day. Yeah. So if
Mhm.
you're and it was big, but it was easy to finish and a great Disneyland meal.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Rise because that was mind-blowing.
Yeah, I don't think really any of us had words for how cool it was, except what
we
Layne
could only get out a couple words when we had gotten off the ride.
Layne said the perfect way to describe it. Do you remember what you said when we got off?
Not quite. So why don't you go ahead?
So yeah, Layne was like, "That was next level," and I'm like, "You know what, Layne? That's really the only word you can use to
I
describe
think
it."
I said mind-blowing, and that was about as much as I could get out of my head.
You remember what I said?
No.
That earlier in the day we had done Pinocchio, which is a classic ride, a classic Disneyland ride. It's been around forever, but I don't know if any of us had been on there, and if we had, we didn't remember doing it for so long, right? So after we got off Rise of the Resistance, which is the coolest thing in Disneyland, the coolest thing on the planet, I said to everybody, so between that and Pinocchio, what was your favorite new one?
Yeah. I think we shouldn't describe it too much.
Yeah.
But I will say it is the most immersive ride. I mean, it's like half ride, half role-playing experience. You feel like when you're in Galaxy's Edge, you feel like you're in Star Wars, but the difference is with the ride, you're part of a story that's being told. And it's not just you're part of a story, but you are the story and things are happening to you, but in a completely different way than other rides do it. And there's just so much advanced technology in the ride, and there's so many different parts of it. And I don't want to say any specific parts, because if you guys go there and do it, you have to just experience it with knowing as little as possible is the best way to go in.
Right, but if you say Pirates is a water ride, that's really all. It's not a roller coaster; it's just the water ride, right? Rise of the Resistance is a lot more than just one thing. It's a lot of different.
There's a few different
kinds of
and it's
rides
long.
within one. Yeah, it's like 15 minutes long from start to finish.
So that was like a perfect first experience of that ride. Yeah. Even though knowing they had to trim some of it out because of the restrictions at the time.
Do you know what it was that they trimmed out, by the way?
I did go back and look.
They didn't really trim any of the ride. They trimmed part of the waiting the queue, which was kind of unfortunate. I would have liked to see it because apparently it was some more cool technology that we missed. But even what we got was the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen. So I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah.
I don't think we should stick on Disneyland for too long.
Yeah.
Because people either might get jealous or just not care. However, here's what I'll say. Because the capacity was so limited and the lines were moving so quickly, we did my personal favorite ride, Haunted Mansion, 5 times over the 2 days. We did Pirates of the Caribbean 3 times. We did Space Mountain twice. We did Rise of the Resistance and the other Millennium Falcon ride, both twice.
Did the Big Thunder Mountain twice?
Yeah, Big Thunder twice. Was there something else that we did 3 times, or was it just Pirates?
I'm not recalling.
Yeah. Anyway, we just had a total blast. It was other than not being able to go to the cantina, and a couple other things were closed, Matterhorn we didn't get to do. But it was the perfect Disneyland experience. And we did not go to California Adventure because we weren't really interested in that.
But now I am.
Yeah, now that
now
stuff's
if
open,
we were to go back, it would be another cool thing.
Because I did hear about the Spider-Man
Avengers
animatronic.
Campus. It opened a week or 2 after we went. But I wouldn't have wanted to go.
And then on our way back, a friend had recommended a restaurant just north of Anaheim in Fullerton that we went to that we all really enjoyed as well. A breakfasty place.
Yeah, I got this chicken and waffles.
Yeah, Layne got chicken and waffles with was it
It was arugulas and stuff on top of it, which was a really nice take on it because it took some of the guilt off of eating what you were eating.
I got this omelet, I think it was omelet that I got. It was really good.
I can't even remember what I got, but I know
you
it was
got
really
poached
good.
eggs and pork belly or something like that.
Yeah, something really good. I love good food.
We also like good video games.
We did.
Yeah. And guess what happened for the first time in 2 years.
Excellent segue, by the way, Layne.
E3.
Yeah.
Or
That's not one, not two,
or just
but
like
three
a bunch of
E's.
announcements.
Yeah.
Before we dive into Halo, was there anything interesting that you guys?
Layne, come on, you know. You already know, don't you?
Well, with you, anything Fallout and Starfield?
Starfield.
Yeah.
Last time we were talking about E3, I said that Starfield will probably end up being my most hyped game of all time. And this is because Bethesda Game Studios, they make the Elder Scrolls and specifically Fallout, which is probably my favorite gaming franchise. And Starfield is their first new IP in 25 years, as they say. And I've just been really, really looking forward to it because it's going to be their game style, which I just love, but a brand new experience. It's going to be like a space exploration, space travel, sci-fi style game. So I'm so excited for that. They finally showed off some in-engine footage, and it looks amazing. It looks beautiful. They have a release date, which is a little farther in the future than I would have liked, but they take a long time, and I'm sure it's going to be worth it. So Starfield, still, I'm hyped throughout the entire galaxy. Yeah, no, I'm so excited for that.
And then also briefly, I'm really excited for Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 1 was a game that I played on PC kind of when it came out, which was like 2005-ish.
We've always been Psychonauts fans.
Yeah, and it's a game that I feel like literally no one had heard of for the longest time. I felt like it was like my special game that I knew and nobody else did. And then finally, one day they announced Psychonauts 2, and I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for forever. And finally getting Psychonauts 2 on August 25th, I believe. So hype for that. And then I think there was another little game that they showed off, Halo Infinite, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, that little thing.
It's like some indie company.
It was, I'll say, really nice to see Joe Staten up there, or Staten, however you say it. Just to hear his voice talking about Halo again and him working on it. It's got me really excited. So they showed off a little bit of campaign and a little bit of multiplayer. And campaign-wise, I gotta say, that new Cortana girl, I don't know if her name is Cortana. I don't know if they've announced.
Technically, they're calling her, quote, the weapon.
The weapon. Okay.
End quote.
I think that girl is great. You can tell it's Jen Taylor doing a younger voice. She sounds super young, but I really like her already, just from that little snippet we got. I think
And she has clothes.
Yeah, this is a great character. I'm really excited to see how they use her in the game.
And then, of course, the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lane, can I ask you really quickly while we're still on campaign? When you see,
No, we moved on to multiplayer.
when you see Master Chief and you hear him talk, do you think about Steve Downes talking to you?
Honestly, no. I guess since October this has happened, you guys gave me a very unexpected and very nice Christmas present, which was a cameo from Steve Downes.
Right. You posted it on YouTube, right?
I posted it on my personal Twitter.
Oh, right.
I'm not sure if I posted it to TP or not. But
I feel like you did.
So anyway, if you missed it, you want to explain, Kevin?
Yeah, so we got him a cameo from Steve Downes, and if you don't know, Cameo is the website where you can like pay celebrities to send videos, custom videos to people. So we asked him to say a few things to Layne, and he really delivered. So we gave a little some inside jokes, but they're ones that like you guys know if you're Marlin fans. So we had him say $600 million, and he said like good luck with Thomas Productions, and he said that Layne's a great composer and a filmmaker. And just for my own ego, my favorite part is when he said your friends Kevin and Kyle. So I got to hear him say my name, but also he said Layne, and it was really fun. And Steve Downes just did a wonderful job. He knocked it out of the park.
Steve.
He is a voice actor, so he's got plenty of experience, but I'm really happy with the way that turned out, and I know you are too, Layne.
yeah.
We told Layne to film himself watching it, and he had no idea what it was going to be. And so I sent him a video, and the video, it was through YouTube, but the thumbnail I changed to something completely different so Layne would think he was getting something else.
What was it?
It was
Rickroll?
No, it was Layne in wearing the Spartan helmet from one of our old Marlin videos. And the video starts with like just some text saying, I forget even what I wrote, but I know it was really funny. And then it cuts to Steve Downs, and he's like, "Hey, Layne," or whatever. And you just see Layne freak out. And I love
completely off guard.
I just love Layne's reaction. That was sweet. So yeah, you guys should look that up.
Yeah. So anyway, I did enjoy that little peek of campaign, that additional peek. I'm glad that they're not completely just like steamrolling over Halo 5 in terms of like
the
story, because I'm kind of like okay with the direction that they took. It was just more the execution I had an issue with. But for better or worse, I kind of want them to at least own it and own that it happened and not try and sweep it under the rug. So I'm glad that it seems like they're kind of doing that and addressing it and not just saying nothing and acting like it never happened. So beyond that campaign snippet, we got the multiplayer.
Hype!
Yeah, the multiplayer video, and then also the whatever they were calling it, but essentially a Vidoc.
Like 12 minutes
afterwards.
I think the multiplayer just looks great.
It looks like an Apex killer, right, Kevin?
Well, Apex competitor.
Yeah.
They're moving more into the free-to-play season-based game, which I guess most games seem to be doing now anyway. However, just the way that the game plays, like not the season style, but just the actual matches, it looks so cool, and I'm so excited about it.
Here's what I'll say, and maybe it's going to suck, and I'm going to regret saying this, but what I feel like is after watching those couple of videos, I felt like I want to retire and play Halo all day long. That's what it made me want to do.
And it was just such a great trailer. Just the footage that they had put together was really well done.
All the this time leading up to it, they've been saying that, you know, they've been kind of going back to like what made Halo 3 great, and you could really tell in all these trailers and releases that that's come through.
And that kind of worried me only because, like, I love Halo 3, probably my favorite multiplayer experience ever, but I was such a huge fan of what they did with Halo 5 multiplayer, the sandbox. I was like, before it came out, I was like, this looks too strange, too different, but then it ended up being
when you play
so ridiculously
it
fun.
Works so well. And I think Halo 5 is my personal favorite Halo multiplayer. Right. I think it just was the best.
So,
I don't
like,
really have any
the guy who was in
it.
charge of the multiplayer left. He just did one great game and dipped. And so I was like, are they going to do something horrible? But it looks like it's in very good hands.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to playing it, and I'm also glad because I know with Halo 5 they were really kind of focusing in on that 4v4 mode going into it, and very competitive focused. Versus this look that we got was they're much more leaning on the big team, which is a mode that I'm more of a fan of. Mm-hmm. So I was happy to see all that stuff.
Did you watch E3 live?
I did watch the Microsoft one live.
Okay. The Microsoft one was the only one that I watched, by the way. I wasn't really interested in anything else, to be honest.
Yeah, because I guess now that Bethesda's lumped in.
Yeah. Oh, plus Starfield is Microsoft exclusive, which, I mean, I was always an Xbox person, so it doesn't affect me. But you got to kind of feel bad for all the Sony fanboys who are going to miss out on this. They either have to play on PC or get an Xbox or miss out.
Yeah. So besides Halo Infinite, that's like the only thing that's coming to mind for me that I'm especially looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm looking forward to Starfield as well. Just
'Cause you
loving
enjoyed
Skyrim and it being a science fiction universe.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that's kind of like all for E3,
Yeah.
really.
I mean, Starfield and Halo were the things I was looking forward to the most.
I
for that.
was going to say Forza Horizon looks like maybe the most real world picture perfect graphic wise game I've ever seen. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. I'm passively a mild Forza fan, I'll say.
I think what you should do is get the Xbox Game Pass, and then you'll just be able to play it whenever you want. You don't have to worry about buying the game.
Now, talking about all these games, another thing that we've been trying to do is get a hold of a Series X at some point. I know for me, I'd just like to be able to get one before Halo Infinite.
Yeah, me too. I feel
At some
like
point.
I don't want to play Halo Infinite on the last gen.
And you guys have a...
We have the Xbox One X.
Okay, that's the official name. I keep forgetting.
I also have an Xbox One S, I think.
Yeah. So we can play it if it comes down to it. I feel like, Kyle, you're not going to wait. You're going to play it if you don't have a Series X by
And
then.
I mean, technically I could play it too, even though I have the very first Xbox One still. But for me, like, especially with last year kind of being such a crap year, I was really kind of wanting to have Halo Infinite and have that be like as perfect an experience as possible in terms of presenting it and seeing it in like the best possible
yeah,
quality.
you're going to get a new TV
without like a, going all PC.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was that was going to be my excuse to do the 4K upgrade because I still haven't done that yet.
I have purchased or downloaded, I should say, Mass Effect Legendary Edition because I am a huge fan of Mass Effect. I'll say it's my second favorite series after Halo. But that's also not something I'm going to do until I have a Series X.
Because I'm assuming it's 4K graphics with the new one.
Yeah.
So what have we been playing recently? Even though
I've been playing Apex Legends. I've been playing it pretty much since it came out. I took a little break, then came back to it a year after it dropped, and I've been playing it nonstop since then. I can probably count, not counting a couple of vacations I took, I can probably count on my hands, on my fingers, the number of days that I have not played it since February, I think 4th, 2020. I'm not going to say I'm addicted because sometimes I'll just hop on and play 2 games. But
You just need to get your fix.
I love that game. It is just a perfect game. It only gets better and better. They have improved it so much since it came out. They really take player feedback into consideration. You can like see actual things that players have suggested and they just throw it in the game and they'll say like, this came from a player suggestion and we love it, so we're doing it. And I have said before that I think it has become my favorite game
ever.
I mean, yeah, I think I've probably
Fallout
played
3?
I think I've played it more than I've played any other game. Last time I checked, which was quite a while ago, I had like 16 days of playtime, and I probably have added another week or so to that since. That's just like straight playing the game. So, yeah, I love that game.
And then I've been still doing the Master Chief Collection a little bit, mainly to get the season challenges to unlock all the new stuff that they've been putting out. But then I also started The Witcher 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was like very beginning of this year. And to be honest, I haven't played it a whole lot. Like, I think my character is only at level 10, close to 10. And you can get at least up to like 35 or 40. I've never played a Witcher game before, but
I haven't played one.
Obviously it got rave reviews, and it looked very like, it reminded me of Skyrim in some ways. So I have been playing that a little bit, but not as much as I'd like to. I've also been playing Star Wars Squadrons, which I feel like I am closer to beating in terms of the single player. But that's been fun. It's, first person, it looks like you're in a cockpit of a ship and flying around. If you had it, I think, at least for probably PC and the PlayStation, it was VR enabled. So you could put that on and actually feel like you're flying the ship pretty much.
That's cool.
So yeah, I've been enjoying that for what it is. It's more of a smaller game, but I've been liking it so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I have played anything since October, but that's a lie. I played Cyberpunk. My brief review on Cyberpunk is that a lot of people had a lot of problems with it. I didn't. I rather enjoyed it and had a good time.
I played it too once Kyle was done with it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't really have any major problems with it. I thought it was a blast.
I can't remember if I asked you this before. Did you encounter bugs or anything like that?
I had a couple of things that happened that weren't game breaking. I had one crash, but
I think I had one crash
over an entire playthrough of the game. It really wasn't that problematic for me.
Yeah, I remember the game crashed once, but it completely overheated the Xbox where it just shut off, and I had to restart the entire thing. But that happened once, and I don't remember any other bugs. I had a great time playing it. I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's great that you guys had a positive experience with it.
Yeah.
Should we move on to a few of the things that we put out as Thomas Productions? Because we did put out a few small things in the last few months. We put out the what was it? The forgetting the name. The California Be Like video.
California Be Like.
Yeah.
California
we've started to clickbait our names.
Yeah. That was just a little video that I came up with. I guess it's kind of outdated now, but at the time, if you live in California, everybody, at least where we live, follows the mask mandate perfectly. And you just never see anybody's faces. So we made a little video about it. Kind of looked like a drug deal going down where somebody is paying somebody to take their mask off and see a face for the first time in a very long time. And that was a minute long or something. It was really quick. It was in the same style as the You Think You're Cool. So You Think You're Cool or whatever it was called.
They bookend our time being isolated from one another.
Yeah.
So
that one was February 2020.
So that works out nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was us getting back into the groove a little bit.
Just having a little bit of fun real quick.
Yeah. And then Kyle, I heard you were doing some driving or something like that.
Yeah. I think we kind of briefly touched on our Disneyland trip earlier in the show. And obviously we drove to Anaheim, and there were, you might say, a little bit of hijinks.
This is completely unrehearsed, completely on the fly. I just hit record so everyone could see what this experience was like.
I mean, because everyone loves going on road trips with Kyle, especially when I'm driving.
So I had to put up some of those quick fire moments.
Right, so you can check that out. See just what it's like to be in a car with me.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much it in terms of
Just
TP.
a couple little quick videos.
Yeah.
Nothing major. The major things are happening more in our personal, creative lives.
Which, why don't we segue that into sampling our second second and final Mountain Dew of the day.
So if you're familiar with Mountain Dew Baja Blast at Taco Bell, they occasionally, I guess every summer, they release it in bottles now. And this year they've released 2 other Baja-themed flavors along with it. Baja Flash, which is coconut pineapple flavor, and Baja Punch, which is tropical punch. I've tried them both. I like the punch better, so I brought a bottle for all of us to have as well.
And speaking of personal projects, while Kyle is, again, pouring, hear him opening the cap.
Real quickly, this one, by the way, is orange cherry, which is kind of similar to citrus cherry, all our favorite.
Yeah,
flavor.
I'm getting a whiff of that from here.
It's like, this one is like candy, very sweet. But I think you'll like it. Glass.
You should fill us up more than that.
I want to make sure everybody gets some. Then I'll pour the rest in mine.
So once we sample this, maybe we'll go into our
Personal projects. Of which we each have something to discuss.
Okay, I'm
Cheers.
smelling this. It's smelling fruity, kind of melony. Okay, here we go. Down the hatch.
What do you think, Layne?
Okay, it's not as sweet as the regular Mountain Dew variant that we tried, but it has lots more carbonation, which I'm happy about. Gotta take another sample.
I love it. I think it's such a great flavor. It's kind of hard for me to describe. Kind of like gummy type, almost like gummy bears, I guess.
I usually don't like punchy flavors that have a cherry flavor in it. And I also usually don't like orange sodas. And this is an orange cherry punch. And I love it.
Yeah, it does kind of taste, I mean, like a fruit punch that was carbonated in essence. Maybe a little more light than like a fruit punch in terms of sweetness. But I really like it. It's growing on me.
Does it remind you of... Does it taste like it would be in the Baja family?
I gotta say, I'm not super familiar with default Baja Blast.
Oh my God, Layne.
Well, I'll bring you a bottle of that. I got a 6-pack of that yesterday, too.
So I'm not sure if I could rank that in terms of if I think it's good in the Baja verse or not.
How about in relation to other Mountain Dews that you've had?
In relation, I'd say in terms of dividing them in half and one half being better and the half other being not that great, I put this in the better half. So yeah, thank you for bringing these samples.
You're welcome.
So Kevin, did you want to go in depth in terms of kind of, it seems like what we're going to be focusing most of our energy on for the next few months, at least.
So last podcast in October, we did talk about this for a little bit. I had written my first feature screenplay, and I had given it to Layne and Kyle, and you guys had both read it, and you had wonderful things to say, but also some good feedback for me. And we were talking a little bit about what I was doing differently than other movies, but we didn't go into specifics as to what that was. But since then, I can now talk about all of this. So what was so exciting about the screenplay was that it is a feature film that is being told in 3 different genres of movie. So I have 3 different storylines. One of them is a dramatic storyline, one is a comedic storyline, and one is more action oriented. And each of them are interconnected. And then at the end of the movie, at the climax, they all come together.
Spoiler alert.
Well, no, I want people to know this. You're not watching 3 different storylines that don't have anything to do with each other. And also, you don't feel like you're watching 3 totally different movies at the same time. They all feel like they're part of the same movie, but they're just told in different genres. And I'll go into a little bit about which, the different storylines. So the dramatic storyline, which is the heart of the movie to me, is about this 17-year-old girl who lives out of a motel, the poor thing, with her father, who is abusive to her. So her story revolves around her trying to figure out how to get out of this situation. And then the comedic storyline revolves around these 2 knuckleheads, you could say, who are trying to figure out why they're basically trying to solve a murder that one of them was a witness to. And then the more action-oriented storyline revolves around these 3 hitmen who are hunting after the cash that they are owed after completing a job, you could say. And that job is the same one that these 2 guys, or one of the guys in the comedy storyline, witnessed. And then they're all connected a little bit, and it's just super exciting. And the feedback that I've gotten from all the multiple people who have read it, from the cast and the crew, and just people that I've sent it to get feedback from, I've just gotten the best feedback than, better than any other script that I've ever written. And I'm really proud of a lot of my scripts, but this one is just the most exciting. And it's also the biggest. It's 108 pages, I think. The longest thing that I've ever filmed was 22 or 25 pages. So this is going to be a big effort. And that's why I'm doing this crowdfund. If you guys want to get in on this project and be a part of it, I have some really cool perks. And I just added actually 3 new perks today to help sweeten the deal. If you guys are interested, so you can get, I won't go through all the perks, but if you donate $10, I'll send you a scene from the script so you can read a little bit of it. If you donate $150, you get to see the movie. I think that's the best option. And if you donate, this is a brand new one I added today, $200, you get the blooper reel along with the movie, because there's going to be a blooper reel.
That's always the best part of any project.
Yeah. So consider donating. I would really appreciate it.
I just want to say really quickly, I was lucky enough to be the first person to read the script.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. The one kind of problem I had with it was that it was originally 4 genres. There was a porno one. I was like, Kevin, this has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. You got to take this one out. And he did, to his credit. Yeah, the porn parts are taken out. No. So I'm very excited. What? They're still
they're still in there. And also what I've done this time, other than 1 or 2 roles, there's like 12 or something characters in the movie. I've actually gone out and auditioned real working actors for this, and not just my friends.
We got Tom Cruise.
Well, no, not quite that big, but I have a lot of people in here that have been in other projects. They've been in feature films, and they've been in projects with actors that you guys might recognize. And I'm really excited about all the people that are going to be in this movie. I've met all of them except for one guy who I actually just cast, so I haven't really had the chance to meet him yet. But I've met everybody like actually in person. We got together first. I would interview everybody just over Zoom, and then I've done 3 different cast meetings where I get different people And we meet up and meet each other and talk about the production. And gosh, the people that I have here are just going to be so much fun to hang out with on set all day and put together this project. And their auditions are so great. And Layne's seen a couple of auditions, and Kyle has seen them all, I think. So I'm so excited about putting this thing together. And once it's done, it's going to be so good. I just know it's going to be such a good movie, and it's going to look like a movie.
Yeah, what was really cool about watching the auditions was Kevin went on a website that's like made for actors, and so all these actors have their like reels on there or clips from different projects, and so Kevin was able to put in parameters that he wants, like age range, gender, stuff like that, and so you can find the exact people that you have in your head. And so we were watching a lot of the reels and like, okay, this is a good person to reach out to. And then once we did, we got their auditions. You.
Yeah.
And so we're watching the auditions, and it's like, this is somebody who has read 1 or 2 pages of the script and totally gets the character. And like, wow, I feel like I'm watching like the person I pictured in my head when I was reading it. It's like somebody who just totally gets it. And you cast all these people for like every role.
Yeah. I'm so excited about the cast in particular. I think like I spent a very long time casting the thing. I started reaching out to people in January, and like just seeing these auditions are so exciting, because once I reach out to somebody, I start to picture them in the role. And then I get their footage of them doing it. And, these guys are professionals, and I've never had auditions before. So it's just so cool to see. And everybody's so excited to be in it. And everybody's so nice. And it's just going to be a really fun time. I'm so, so excited about it. And it's called Losers of Eden, which I think is a fun name. And I cannot wait to put it together and then hand it off to Layne and let him edit it, and I can forget about it for a while, because it's really in my head at all times, and it's going to be nice to not have to worry about it anymore.
That all is going to come crashing down on me.
Yeah, but just know that I've had this pressure in my head since I started writing it about a year ago, and it's all coming to a head now. Well, and then once we're done shooting, then it all goes to
I kind of understand what you're saying, but I also feel like you always talk about how editing is your favorite part of the filmmaking process, putting it together. And I think that once we are done shooting and you got all the footage, you can't wait to get into the editing room with Layne and put it together.
That's true. But I also feel like it will be a long time waiting, because we're going to be shooting over a couple months. Layne, you might have time to start putting together not like a super polished edit, but you might be able to do bits and pieces throughout the production.
It wouldn't surprise me if I did that.
Yeah, me too.
So obviously you've heard it's Kevin's project, but Kyle and I are going to be helping out very heavily with it,
as usual.
So if you go and fund this project, you're in a way kind of helping to fund a next, kind of like Thomas Productions-esque type thing.
It involves 100% of the members of Thomas Productions.
It kind of feels like you could say Thomas Productions is the precursor to this sort of stuff, which is the kind of stuff that we wanted to do our whole lives.
Yeah. It's the natural progression of what we started back in 2003. Well,
3 officially
2003,
what we say.
Yeah, but 2001 was our first time making
2003
video.
was when we first used the name Thomas Productions.
Fun fact, today is June 22nd, and I happened to find out through a little Mac sleuthery. What?
Oh, I was just going to say reminder.
No. I created the document of the screenplay on June 30th. So I started it almost a year ago.
Dang.
Yeah.
So, for me, I've had a few little projects I've been doing. One of which was the Halo Mole, which as of the last podcast that we did, had just started to air. So that run of episodes finished, and you could go on and watch them at youtube.com/the Halo Mole.
And what were you doing with that project then?
So I was making all the music for it. So putting all that together.
And that's a lot of music. How many hours of music was it?
I can't say exactly, but what I can say is that then in March I released the soundtrack for it. And in that one there's two variants. There's like a basic version that's like close to 80 minutes. And then there's another version which is even longer. So if you get like the big version, you're getting like at least 2 hours of music. And yeah, I'm really happy that it's out there, and I'm really proud of some of that work.
Right. So before you move on, I want to say it was March. I was going on walks at night and listening to the entire thing, and I wrote down all of my favorite tracks. So if you want to hear Kyle's favorites from Layne's album, Halo Mole.
Yeah, well, I should say it is called Spartan Sabotage.
Whatever it's called.
For
legal purposes.
Yeah.
So my favorite tracks that I've written down on my phone are Bridge the Gap, Strikeout, Ascension, Rally Run, Bullseye, Escape, Climb Extended, Sweet Money, and When All Is Said and Done.
You know, it's interesting. You didn't list what my favorite one was. At least I didn't hear you say Triumphant.
I didn't say that.
Okay. Triumphant. Layne, do you remember what I told you about Triumphant?
I think you said something like, I wish you could compose something that great for me, or something like that.
I said something like, I wished you had saved that for me, or something like that. It's so good. I listened to it multiple times. And there's just like, there's like
I'm kidding.
well, no, there's a couple different parts in it. It's not
There's
like
an
this one
extended
repeating
version of
thing.
it too, right?
Yeah. But it's so good from beginning to end, and like each part is different but great. And even though it wouldn't match my movie,
yeah,
I
your
want
style.
something that good for my movie. Quick
Take note, Layne, because he has a bunch of offers from other people who.
I didn't tell you about that, but it's true. After I launched my campaign, within a couple days, I had 3 different composers reach out to me asking to compose. And you were gone on your vacation, so I didn't text you, but I would have texted you screenshots and said, like, Layne, your job is in jeopardy here. Yeah. So I'm not hiring them.
I was telling Kevin reach back to them and say, well, I have someone who's going to do it for free, so unless you're going to pay me to do it, then.
But Layne, quick side question that has to do with both of our projects that we're talking about. Have you thought at all about what you want to do for the music? I know that's like way later in the timeline, but have you thought about it at all?
Mumble rap.
I'll tell you, I have not.
Okay. We could probably talk about this not on microphone, but only slightly.
Okay. I just wanted to know if you had or not.
So that album came out. So that's music I had been working on for like a good 8 years at this point.
A decade.
It's been a very long time since Layne first started doing this.
Yeah. So I'm nice to see that all of this is as borne fruit and is now out there for people to enjoy. And then in addition to that, I've been doing some music for Kickstarter projects. There's an author, his name is Frank Martin, and he writes comics, and he's been doing a bunch of Kickstarters to kickstart a bunch of these comics. So I forget if I had mentioned this in the last podcast. It's seeming familiar.
Did, yeah.
So anyway, I've been doing more of that to keep it brief. But then also I've started, I should say, I started and completed work on a new instrumental album. This one is going to be orchestral.
Well, your first one hadn't come out yet by the time when we did our last podcast.
Oh, you're right.
We were talking
Holy
about it.
smokes.
We were talking about the songs on it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't out yet.
Wow, I totally forgot about that. I breezed by. Yeah, so the other album, I should say, that we talked about last time was Light to the Face.
Which was in the works for longer than the Halo
It's
Mall
even more of
soundtrack.
your life's work, basically.
Yeah, but more of like, not like constantly working on it, but
Right.
like coming back to and polishing up.
And you know that I talked about it last time. Kevin and I would agree that pretty much the best thing that Layne has ever written is track 9 on the album Colors.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah, Layne, I want something that good in my movie.
there was a song that when we both heard it for the first time,
We
it
told
was,
the story about
Right.
this.
it was just
time.
like it was like, wow, this is like the best thing I've ever heard. And of all people, the guy I'm sitting right next to wrote it.
I
It's
think
like-
I almost
it's like-
started crying when I heard
it's
it
like
the first
Layne,
time.
Wow.
like I know
But,
that
I mean,
that
that-
you're good at music, but this was like I didn't know that it was this kind of level of stuff. And you're well, I'll say that later. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So what I was going to talk about was this other album, which, you know, Light to the Face was like rock instrumental. This is like orchestral instrumental.
Right. Can we back up one more second? Light to the Face. You also did some videos.
Oh yeah. So when everything shut down, I kind of like dusted off this and started to work on Light to the Face some more, and then I recorded some of me playing the songs live to kind of accompany the album.
You did 3 videos?
I did 4.
Oh, okay.
So I put those out on my personal channel. If you want to see me playing the piano, you can just go over there.
Search Layne Thomas music on YouTube and it won't come up at all. For those who don't know, there's another artist whose name is Layne Thomas Staley.
I think he's a singer for Alice in Chains,
Yeah.
right?
And so
Yeah.
if you look up
Little
Layne
band.
Thomas, unfortunately the Layne Thomas that's sitting right
because it's
across
spelled
from
the
me,
same way.
yeah, doesn't come up immediately.
Yeah,
He should though.
I agree. So the instrumental album, the orchestral
The
album,
new one.
yeah. This was kind of something that came up kind of just like pretty organically. I've gotten more into, you know, composing music for over the last year from kind of like having the time to do that. And so I've been kind of like learning some new stuff and also collecting new sounds to use. And some of those are some great string sounds. And because of those, I created some pieces that I really liked, and they kind of went along with the theme of some other tracks that I already had completed but had never released. So that's going to be coming out in roughly the middle of July, and you should just keep an ear out for the announcement. It's kind of like a themed album, so I would say like it's almost like a movie soundtrack without the movie.
But
And-
for a very specific
Right.
genre of movie.
And Kevin and I have had the pleasure of hearing this one as well. And I'll say that it is fantastic, very good. There's also something really unique in there in that, like, Layne has a very signature style that Layne himself will say, I have no idea what you're talking about, but Kevin and I can hear something and go, oh, that sounds like Layne.
whether it's like a song or a piece of music,
Right.
like a score.
Even just a riff.
yeah.
It's like, wow, that's so Layne. But there's one song on this album that I would never have said it was Layne. So bravo for branching out. So you've heard us talk about how much we love Layne's music, how good it is. You know, the other people are reaching out, the Comic Guy, the Halo Mole people, they want Layne's music too. And you can have it too.
By going to Fiverr. I am on Fiverr if you felt like getting your own Layne piece composed. So you could just go there, search my name, and it should come up. And
there's a whopping 0 1-star review, so you know it's good.
Yeah, I haven't messed up yet, so at least there's that.
Well, you messed up on one of my movies, but we don't talk about that. Also, I'm totally kidding. You never messed up.
So you can go on there, check out the tiers, and if you had something that was either bigger or smaller in scope in mind, you'd always just reach out to me either through the Fiverr website or through Twitter or...
And his personal phone number is...
Any other... Kyle, I'm not giving that out. If anyone were to know that... Dang.
It's game over.
So anyway, so yeah, so there's that.
You know what's funny, brief tangent, is that because of like smartphones and contacts, nobody memorizes phone numbers anymore. But we grew up as friends in the age before that, and I still have your phone number memorized.
My like home phone number?
Your cell phone.
A cell
number.
phone, okay.
Yeah.
We did know your home phone. I don't remember it now.
Okay.
I'm sure if I heard it, I would go, oh yeah, that's definitely it.
Right. Well, I appreciate you saying that because I definitely don't know your guys' cell phone numbers.
Layne. We're leaving. We're leaving. We'll come back once you have them memorized, okay? Let us know.
And once you know our middle names.
Okay. So I've been doing music stuff. Kyle, I think it was last time you said like you had friends that you helped out with music.
Right. Well, you and I actually got involved with a project called American Fart Band. Again, this was, like I said, people have been reaching out because they know how good Layne is. Well, Layne didn't do any of the writing, but this is
I was more like, quote unquote, like an engineer,
right? Like
I guess.
helping kind of put the project together, and I was producing it. And so they put out their first album in October, and kind of reached out again, and I helped them out with a second one called 3, the second one. It's pretty funny. And I think the music is great. It turned out great. I think the production is even better than the first one, which was pretty good. So I'd recommend checking that out. But also last time I talked about my own personal project, which is like a metal kind of style of music that I put out under the name Steaming Pile. And in October it hadn't come out yet, but I was working on it. But it came out in January. So if you want to look up, it's on all the streaming platforms. Steaming Pile. The album is Rest in Feast. It's a bunch of music that I've written over the years. And I'm pretty proud of that one too. I think it turned out great. It sounds great. And there's a 13-minute song on there called Japanese Bonus Track.
Yeah. Both of the things that he just talked about, I second that. I recommend that you should definitely check them out if it's your thing.
Right. It's
kind of
both of them
niche,
are instrumental metal. But what's cool about it is that it's all like typical song structure. So if you are a vocalist and you want something to practice to, this would help you practice writing to instrumental music. And, it's all out there streaming. And if you want, you can find me somewhere on social media, reach out to me, and I can provide you with original files if you don't want to rip it off YouTube or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are those are all like what we've been up to personally.
Yeah, my movie is taking up all of my free time right now.
It's a miracle we managed to squeeze this in.
Yeah, we're headed into production very, very soon. And Layne, we have some things to talk about once we finish recording this.
Okay. So, I guess that means you haven't watched much in terms of movies, TV.
No, I don't have much time. I did watch Zack Snyder has put out 2 movies in a very small amount of time, and I watched both of those and thoroughly enjoyed Justice League in particular. I really, really loved. Won't get too much into it. The internet, there's enough of that on the internet, but I really enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder. And then Army of the Dead, which he put out on Netflix, was a very Zack Snyder movie. So if you like his style, you'll like it. I enjoyed it. I feel like those are really the only movies.
Kevin and I watched Army of the Dead while eating chimichangas, and really good chimichangas, and it's always going to be the chimichanga movie now.
I think since the last podcast, I watched the second season of For All Mankind.
We've talked about that together, not on the show, but we watched that as well.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't think it was as good as the first season, mainly because it seemed like it was more character focused.
Oh no!
Which, I mean, isn't in itself a bad thing, but it seemed like that was kind of what they spent a lot of time on, and not as much time doing space stuff.
There was plenty of space stuff.
I mean,
though.
There was, but
it was even more butt clenching than what was in the first season.
And then I felt like some of the characters went in weird places without spoiling much. So versus coming out of the first season, I was like very hyped for seeing more. Coming out of this latest season, I'm more lukewarm.
Mm-hmm. I've started watching The Americans, which is it's like about a married couple who are KGB spies living in America during the 80s. And I just started season 4 out of 6, and I'm really enjoying it.
Another thing that I watched, which I didn't tell you guys about, because that happened recently, but I got around to watching the original Conan the Barbarian movie.
Is that Arnold Schwarzenegger?
That's with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I really enjoyed it. Now, obviously, it's like...
campy?
It's campy and, it's him muscly and being all manly, and there's women in distress and all that sort of stuff. But the reason I got intrigued and wanted to check it out was the music. I was listening to this music podcast, and they did a show on it, and I was really taken by how well this music was. It's orchestral and all that stuff. So I watched the movie, and so much of the movie relies on the music because Arnold doesn't say a whole lot in it, but the filmmaker really allowed the music to carry the movie, and it's very much at the forefront.
Oh, that's cool.
And James Earl Jones is in it too, so he's another neat reason to watch it.
I have not seen this movie, by the way.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Speaking of music, have you, or I don't know if you have the ability to, listen to any of the Dolby Atmos tracks that have been released from Apple?
I've heard about them doing that. I haven't consciously listened to one of those yet.
The Rise of Skywalker soundtrack is in Dolby Atmos.
Oh.
Along with a bunch of other cool songs. Linkin Park's first album, Hybrid Theory, is done in Dolby Atmos, and I'm a Linkin Park fan, and it sounds like a completely new album to me.
Is it, they're just widening everything up so it feels like you're inside it?
Yeah, the way they explain it is instead of listening to it in stereo where it's happening to your left and your right, it's happening all around you. I don't know how they do it and how much they have to remix anything, but it's hit or miss. Not every song sounds better. Some of them sound worse. But in my opinion, something like Hybrid Theory works really well and sounds brand new, and you hear things that you didn't hear before.
Right. I've noticed everything, like all the instruments, will sound a lot clearer. You can really hear what everything is doing, but sometimes the song will sound flatter and less punchy, and it just doesn't have the same energy.
I feel like the drums in some songs really suffer.
Like one of the songs is I don't know if you're familiar with it, Layne, but it was all over the radio years ago. It was Stacy's Mom.
Yeah.
They ruined it. It has no character anymore.
Yeah, it's cool to check out. I don't think it's going to be like, or Kyle said this, he predicts it's going to be like, it's go the way of HD DVD.
Right. They talk about it, like hyping it up, like people are saying it's the only way I can listen to music anymore, like Apple people. And I'm like, it's really not that great. Sometimes it is, but also sometimes it's very not.
It's cool to check out, but is it the future of music? I can't say. It's not like the most mind-blowing thing. It's not like, going from black and white to color. It's more like going from
HD to 4K.
Going, well, maybe from like SDR to HDR.
Okay.
I feel like that makes sense.
Was there anything else that we felt like touching on?
I should mention my Indiegogo. As of the recording of this, there's less than a month left to donate. So get in now while you still can.
Got nothing else?
Do we have anything else?
No. Let me scroll through my photos really quickly and see if I have anything that I'm really. Oh. Yeah. No.
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Well, that does remind me. So, did we want to read any YouTube comments at all?
Sure. Yeah, we can read. Did we get any emails or voicemails or anything?
See, on YouTube we got some nice general comments on one was Marlon the Elite episode, just saying it's great. They did use an expletive in this comment, but in a positive way.
Oh,
so I'm not sure if I should read that one, but
you can censor yourself and read it.
This beep is good, bro.
Nice.
I saw we got one on Twitter as well. That the one of me driving, somebody commented what was it?
I'm not going to pay for your insurance.
Right.
Something like that. Someone, I guess, revisited Marlon episode 53, Alpine Springs, and said,
wow.
holy beep, blast from the past.
Yep, Marlon the Elite still on YouTube. If you wanted to check it out, still there.
And speaking of videos, randomly, one of my personal channel videos,
oh yeah,
where I filmed one of my cats and synced it up with some Jizargo lines from Skyrim, randomly
went
YouTube.
viral?
Yeah, randomly YouTube started funneling a bunch of people to that. So last time I checked, it had I want to say 250,000 views. And some of those people subscribed and subsequently found some of my music stuff and liked it. So
that's cool. Who would have thought that the cat would become such a popular figure that 250,000 people have seen your cat? How does that make you feel?
it makes me feel good. Yeah.
Wish it was a video that we had put more effort into.
But that was monetizable.
Yeah.
Make money off your cat.
But we can't control what YouTube starts recommending to people. I mean, maybe we can, but not quite in that way.
So if you want to reach out to us, you could do so at on Twitter. There's at Thomas Pro Inc. And then on Instagram. We are on Instagram at Thomas. I'm ashamed to say. I think it's Thomas Productions. I'm not sure if it's Thomas Pro Inc. on there as well. I know on Facebook it's Thomas Productions.
It's Thomas Pro Inc.
Okay. I did keep it in sync there.
Right, and then Layne's personal phone number.
No, Kyle.
Do we still have the podcast phone number?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, what is that? What's that number? I usually
Didn't that go out of commission a long time ago?
I usually remember what the phone number is offhand. I could probably look it up.
Do you even know how to check the voicemail on that?
Do you want to kill time while I look? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. It's, if you feel like calling in, it's, 208-474-2690. That again is 474-2690. Oh, wait. Okay. I got that wrong. 208-474-2690.
Sounds so familiar.
208-474.
Do you know how to check the voicemail box on that?
I do. And believe it or not, there was something in there.
You're kidding.
Hi, my question is for Layne. I'm wondering what is the address of the house that you grew up in, and what was the name of your first pet, and what's the last 4 digits of your social security number? Thank you.
Okay, so, well, I guess thanks for calling in. I will say for anyone who's thinking about, calling in with that sort of stuff, I have reported that caller ID to the FBI, and they're going to look into this. They've handed it over to their fraud protection unit, so that guy's going to be in for a world of hurt. So just know that when you call in. All right, so that's the show. Again, also youtube.com/Thomas Productions. Watch all of our past videos there. And anything we post in the future.
KevinBrio.com as well. It's my website. You can check out all my stuff.
And Kyle's website. Whatever that is.
I bought the domain name. There's no website attached to it. Layne has a website.
Oh, yeah. LayneThomas.net.
And Layne has a Fiverr as well.
Yeah. If you just go to that website, you can get to the Fiverr from there. Mm-hmm. But then also, look up, what was it? What was the band name?
Steaming Pile.
Steaming Pile
and
on
American
Spotify, iTunes, everywhere else.
And then Layne's personal email.
Kyle, I already almost got scammed into giving away my personal info on this. I don't need you.
Okay. You almost got scammed? Like you almost started telling that person all your personal information?
I'm not disclosing that.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Would it be horrible if I turned the fan on?
Not excruciatingly horrible, since we slurped Mountain Dew into the microphone.